What's up, everybody? Big Herc 916, getting down with Fresh Out Prison Talk. I'm here with my man Thomas Baca, and we got a crazy story about a prison riot in New Mexico. Thomas, lay it down from start to finish, like the whole situation and how it unraveled as far as this particular riot.
When I showed up to that level 3 in Las Cruces, New Mexico, and I got to that level 3 and I got situated into a pod, we had to get cleared to walk the yard at this facility. This facility was a very dangerous yard at the time. We got cleared to walk the facility. I went out to the yard. 3 individuals that were from Albuquerque, New Mexico said, "Hey, is there anyone on the bus from S&M?" And I said no. And
What is S&M?
S&M is a prison gang in New Mexico called Sindicato Nuevo Mexico, and they were, a syndicate. They were a big prison gang in New Mexico.
Okay.
They did a lot of terrorizing and stuff like that. So we all band together to actually get them off of the yard. They were a dangerous group. So when I got there, and 3 dudes had already took me on a walk really quick, ran down the politics. I'm brand new on the yard. We're taking a walk around the yard. It's 86 degrees. It's hot in Las Cruces. We're walking around the yard and
So what is this? It's not to cut you off, but like, what does this prison look like? Is there guard towers? Is there big raised? Like, what is this prison like? If somebody was to try to visualize it, like, what does it look like? What is this prison? How's it structured?
This prison looks like an old 80s style prison. It looks like the old Main in Santa Fe. It has towers. There's guard towers.
Guns?
There's guns.
Okay.
When you go to the yard, every single pod comes out together, and it's almost like everyone's on the compound together, headed to the yard. They metal detect you before you go out, but of course everybody already has pre-buried shanks that are in the yard. And so that's kind of that vibe.
So as far as like going out to the yard, is there one main yard and then it's kind of like sectioned off based on cliques, or?
There's one main yard and it's sectioned off based on cliques. So like on that main yard, you'll have Sureños on the yard. You'll have Albuquerque on the yard. S&M used to be on the yard. You'll have the up north car, which is on the yard. That's like Taos, Espanol, all those little small towns. You'll have the Las Cruces car. You'll have Crazy Town Roswell, which is the Roswell car. This is state prison, so it's not, it isn't the federal where you have all the different, and those are the cars that'll be on the yard. And then you have the brothers on the yard. There's no Asians. I mean, so you know what I mean? That's not going to happen. You got the whites on the yard, and everyone has their own area. We had the cemented weight area. We had the best area. We were the biggest group.
So was this like kind of planned and laid out, like through like whatever channels, like, hey, on this particular day when we hit the yard at this time, it's going down? Or
there was there was a bunch of us from Albuquerque. There was 3 guys that were, one of them that ran that car, but 2 others that were right with him that came to me on the yard, took a walk with me personally and said, "Hey, here's this, here's a knife, and tonight we're going into the gym. We're going to go ahead and get rid of the clicksters." And that's how it happened. That same night look, dude, that night I went back to the pod and was so nervous about performing that I was like, I'm not going to my room. I'm not getting caught, them locking the doors. And hey, TJ didn't make it to the yard. It's like, so for me, it's like I made sure to stand there in front of that day room, report to that television, have that knife on me, stand there, report in the day room, and sit there until they called yard. And when they called yard, I jumped into that Sully port and I took off to the yard. And so, and we went to yard. And so, we all went there. We all had, look, when we showed up there, someone obviously tipped them off, because when we showed up, they were already ready. Look, dude, they're not dumb. If you go look them up, and it was already that. Look, when they said we're getting rid of the S, I was like, oh yeah, it was happening on every adjacent yard.
Okay.
So even in like Roswell, there's a yard in Santa Rosa. The Roswell boys kicked it off and got rid of the S on that yard. We got rid of them in Cruces.
So in other penitentiaries, there was always circulating the word.
Well, it all happened on the same day.
Okay.
In every penitentiary.
Coordinated.
So it's kind of like a big coordinated thing.
I got you. Okay.
Although I had nothing to do with the coordination. I showed up to that yard and it was like, hey, here's this. Get ready to be there, be square. And I was like, all right, cool. Well, you know I'm going to be there. Look, here's the thing with me. A lot of people be like, oh, TJ, how did it feel to show up there and with the night? It didn't feel like anything. And the reason it felt like nothing is because the S&M was already who they were. There was already a war. We've been at war a lot of times. I mean, it wasn't no different than it was. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To sit back and hang out in the unit and pretend that you didn't show up. There was an idiot who actually did that. No joke. Like once we did that whole riot, we ended up going to the hole, and there was some homie that walked out with a hard time mug and was like, "Oh TJ, hey brother, oh the SEAL locked me in my cell whenever you're done." That right there, look, that ain't even. I looked at him right there. I was like, "You're done."
Yeah.
The moment that, and guess what? When he showed up to Clayton, he was done.
Yeah.
And so that's where it was like look, the number one thing we told you to do is report. That's a real easy duty to do. And so, you report or you don't report. I elect to report. I don't want to wear a jacket. I'm doing, 5 years, 8 months in there. I'm not trying to.
So for like the person who's never, been in a riot or going to be in a riot, like what was that experience like? Did, the guys just run up the dudes and start stabbing? I mean, did they form like a military line and then they went at a certain direction? I mean, how that...
We all went into the gym. There was a big homie that was a big homie, and I will not say his name out of the respect for him, but he kicked it off, and he kicked it off prolifically. And I know he has a big green light on him for sure. I'm sure I have one. But I don't know if I skirted past it or not. I mean, I wasn't in the limelight as much as him. Although, so look, we walked into the gym. Everyone our people kind of skirted out. You could smell it, dude. It was happening. Like as soon as it was like, oh, you could smell it. It stinks. I was like, they're not dumb. These homies are prison gang members.
Yeah.
Look, I even tipped my hat off to the S. I'm just saying, even though we went with them, I'd done time with them before.
So it's just a lot of adrenaline and this shit just starts happening.
60467 is my prison number. So I'm just saying that in New Mexico is old school. I've been on the yard with them before they got, you know what I mean? When they had their power numbers and I was there with them. I knew they weren't going to go. If 4 of those guys can take out 40 of anyone else, I'm just saying it was that type of you knew that they were going to get it shaken.
So how many people would you say were on your side compared to their side, or how many?
About 26 people on our side, no joke, and about 8 people on their side.
Oh, wow.
And it was an even fight.
Damn.
That's why I'm just keeping that. That's where it was.
So 8 of them took on 20-something people?
Yep.
Damn.
In that gymnasium.
Yeah.
And so, you know what I mean? But look, I mean, how long did it last? It kicked off and then they started shooting at us. They were, making us get on the ground. Fools were getting stabbed. It was pandemonium. It was a melee during that time frame, because even the whites ended up getting off on the Sureños. It is a sickle. Look, that camp was one of the best camps I'd ever been in. Like, I mean, it was really prolific. It was pop locking and dropping.
Yeah, yeah.
Look, the 6, you don't come out. So when I went to level 6, after that took place, they go, all of a sudden we go to the hole. And then they transport us out to we're getting transported. They don't tell us where we're going, and we're like, we're headed north. We're going to Santa Fe. And so all of a sudden we pull up to 5. Well, I'm on with all these big shot dudes, short dog from 18, all these elite dudes. They get up off the bus. They're starting to call him. We're all in paper suits naked. They start calling him. We left our prison compound in a level 3 medium unit. We left that compound. I'm in the abyss because I've never been higher than a 3. So I'm headed over now to, I think I'm going to the level 5. The P&M South. Mm-hmm. And so we start going there and they start letting all these fools off. All the homies are getting off. Even a big homie who had a big name somehow was getting off. And I was like, it's shocking that I'm staying on the bus. I started to worry about having a street charge. Like, I'm like, are they trying to hit me? Like, did they see something on camera they didn't like? Or what are they? We all, put in work, but it's like, what's going on here? I'm starting to get a little bit worried. And then I look across and there's some idiot I won't say where he's from, with a hairnet tattooed on his head. And I'm like, and so I try to kind of like hunker up and I'm like, hey, what's up, brother? And he's all, nah, and he's killed a guard in Santa Rosa. And so it's like, God. So on the transport officer, I say, hey, where do you have me going? Baca, like, am I hitting a level 2 or something? It's like, geez. And he goes, you're going to the north. You 2 are going to the P&M North, which is the 6. So I was like, damn. I was like, well, I'll use it as a, I've never known anyone to go there. It's really hard to get there. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'll use it as, I'll go there. It got more prolific for me because when I got there, the guards had him on a special, probably beat down regimen. So they got him and said, hey, check this out. Baca, go ahead and go here. And they put me in this other weird room. And then it was both of us just on the transport going to the 6. There's only 2 of us. They can't put you in the same cell anyway. The level 6 is different. They put me in, it's like what, ADX Colorado. And so they put me in a cell, put him in a cell. And then they say, hey, go ahead and take Baca to 3A instead of 1A. And I was like, damn, that's the old death row unit. So instead of that idiot with the hairnet going to death row like he should have, they stuck me in that pod. And lo and behold, I go right upstairs and I'm in between a commander of the S&M and a sergeant at arms for the S. And so it's like I'm in between those 2 rooms. They don't know that I was from Cruces yet. So luckily, when I walked my way, because I was like, oh, this is this type of yard. Hey, I'm telling you, this yard was shaking. Like, but you couldn't come out. That's where it was like, it was iffy. But I'm not gonna cell warrior either. But I went all the way to the shower and I'm like, all right, cool. They're giving me a shower. This is a trip. But you stay in the shackles. You go into the shower. I get in the shower and then oh yeah, I get to take these ones off. I put these through, they take these ones off, but my legs stay on. For a year, they stayed on. And then for a year in the 5, they stayed on. So I showered up and everything. All of a sudden, this kite somehow magically goes ding, 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 comes right through the bottom of the cell. Like, because our shower has like it's almost open. It has it's a door. And you can have underneath, like you could fish through it. And so the thing came through and there was a shank in there. And, this dude, the commander of the S, sent a shank over there. I didn't know he was the commander at the time. I know his first and last name. And so he sent that shank over to me and he's like, hey, homie, hit that Texas Syndicate member. He probably thought I was trying to jump on the bandwagon. And it was like, oh, no, I ain't. You know what I mean? I didn't know we had an issue with Texas. I didn't look, I'm not from the feds. I barely got that indoctrination. So I'm saying I had no clue that was.
So he tried to send you on a mission.
Well, I mean, he's from the S, so he probably figured I could earn some stripes. Just say I wanted to, I wanted to roll the easy way, then go ahead and handle that. Now you're made, you're in, you got the life of glory.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like I wasn't really.
So how'd you handle that?
I didn't handle it at all. I took that shank, I put that shank up, secreted it, went right back to my room and took that shank. I actually built like a little string and I would dental floss it like down through the vent and I'd hide it and then I'd pull it back up. And so like if I needed it, I'd have it back.
Yeah.
And so when he sent it to me, he also wrote me like a death threat, like, but halfway in Spanish and, hey, Holmes, I'm going to kill you and this and that. And it's like, dude, when we come out, if you're an old man and you want to think you can, I'm going to break you off.
Yeah.
And that was it. But his homie, the one next door, was in much better shape.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure that guy was with the business. I'm sure he had something up his
But
sleeve.
I mean, there was no rec yard where you guys come out together. And
there was.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, in level 6 there's a rec yard. You come out and it's you come out 5 hours a day, and so you come out 5 hours a week, and so you come out 1 hour a day, Monday through Friday, Saturday and Sunday shut down. You're doing a bird bath. And so that homie would try to hit the metal detector and then try to make a movement and wait or try to ask a question. Or he was fishing to try to get something in, but it's like, it's so close security, dude. It's like, I just didn't see a way that it was really going to happen.
Yeah. So, because I know in some of the prisons in California, they actually have where they'll let 2 dudes, they'll do like they stage fights. So that they've staged, because I've had a homie and they heard about his reputation, so they wanted to see if he's really about that business, and he's really about it. And they're like, oh, okay. So guards actually entertain themselves in some places with letting other men get down like that. So I'm just curious if they were like on that kind of time there.
They weren't, but I had been to a place that was on that kind of time where the chaplain walks by, looks in the first pod, they're throwing down, looks in the next one, homie's getting raped. They look in the next one. I've been in those pods. Those were lower. Those weren't. What weren't the 6. The level 4, if you want to talk about probably the hardest place that I've ever been myself, level 6 was heavy just because you were in the room.
Yeah. But more security.
But level 4, you're coming out for 4 hours out of the day. It's level 6 with the doors ajar. Level 4 was pop locking and dropping. And so the level 4 was shaking for sure. And so that was an eye-opening. I had to spend a year there. Look, I spent a year in the 6. I did their level system, spent a year in the 6. After a year in the level 6, which is supermax, you get to go down to the level 5. You do a year there.
Did you see a lot of like drug use and you said people getting raped?
I mean, I wouldn't say I saw people getting raped. In Cruces, there was some fucking idiot that ended up, making some fools suck him off, and he was doing shit. But look, that's the part that I trip on though, because when I got there into Cruces, some homies all, hey fool, did you see that fool Red? Gizmo came over and he's all, what's up? He's all, is that fool Red a fag? And it's like, I'm not trying to gossip on the yard, dog. This is a 3-yard. Yeah. That fool came from a 2. There was some homie that like smuggled in some drugs and they kicked him out, and so he went to a 3. He ended up showing up and I was there, and then he was in the pod with that idiot. So yeah, that idiot was, busting up some white dudes or whatever, busting cheeks, whatever you say. It's like fucking, that was happening. Yeah. The level 2 was filled with that type of shit. Just not really rape. It was more fools doing shit.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, only reason I ask, these guys out there, they get all excited. Oh my God. And I was like, dude, where I was at, I didn't see none of it. I mean, do whatever you're doing, that's your business. Some dudes they probably into that shit before they went in there, so they're already kind of weirdos. They get in there and they're happy. But as far as like, I'm not saying it to insinuate, but like, people see prison movies and they always put that bullshit in there.
There was a homie named Julian walking a punk around the yard. I swear to God, taking that punk on dates and everything. Like straight up taking him to the chow and everything. But he was catching fades and knocking fools out, which was shocking. Yeah. And there was a black brother named Hollywood that'd knock you out and suck your dick. Hate to say it like that, but I'm just saying that the homie was some Golden Gloves, whatever.
Wow.
And so I'm just saying that shit does exist. Yeah, I saw that, damn near firsthand.
Wow. What are some of the things on your paperwork if you show up that'll get your wig split if you show up on a yard? Like, is there people pressing the paperwork issue?
Any criminal sexual penetration, any kind of CSP, any kind of rape, any kind of
they don't play that.
They don't play any of that. Any kind of CSP, any kind of rape.
What is CSP?
I guess criminal sexual penetration or whatever.
Oh, okay, like messing with like young people or things like.
Some homie came onto the yard and it was my turn to check his paperwork. So I went over there and I checked his paperwork and it said CSP. And I was like, I don't know and they're like, that's a sex charge. Oh. And so he happened to be a dentist. He put someone under and did something wrong. But what happened was he ended up pressing the button before we came back out. So they took him away. Okay. Like, in other words, we're like, hey, it's 2. How come you're not opening the doors? It's already 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then so they keep us locked down because they got to move the piece of shit. And so it's like, we can't come out. They're like, you guys are all locked down. We got to move the piece of shit. And so he's gone.
Okay. So people like that, they're not just like, hey, man, no big deal. They're not.
Oh, no, they get worked off. They're getting, it's over.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just curious about that, like how they pressed that line in New Mexico about that.
And usually stomped out. It ain't like, if you're on a 4-yard, but you would never make it to a 4-yard with those kind of
charges, huh?
Nah, because there's a 4-yard in Grants that used to be like a piece of shit yard, fuckers hiding and doing all that weird shit. And then Cruces, though, is that gangster yard. So it's like, if you were already there, it was almost like you were already... Look, there was a brother one time that was up there, and we had opened a new prison in Clayton, and we got there, and it was a gangster prison. And we got there, and the brother was standing on the top tier all heated. I even showed my paperwork. Everybody had to do it. Okay. And then that homie was sitting there, and he's all, hey, cuz on Crip. He's all, any one of these motherfuckers asked me for my paperwork, cuz we can go to a cell. And I'm like, you must have a charge, dog. Like, I'm like, I just started thinking, and I was like, you got that. You've been writing on that because you did 18 years, and you're that old school rape. And it's like, you're that dude. No one ever asked you for your paper. You slid on through. And sure enough, he was that.
Oh, he had that old school bullshit.
He had that old school bullshit rape. That's where it was like, damn, they ended up calling and they're like, that fucker has a rape charge.
Did they roll him up?
You know what? The brothers didn't want to do it, dude, so we ended up getting rid of him. It's a weird thing. Yeah. But that was only on that yard. I'm not saying.
Okay.
There was elite other brothers, Chauncey and them dudes that would have got rid of him in a drop of a dime.
Yeah, anybody that's that defensive, you must be a piece of shit.
And he was big, dude. So it was kind of like, and he was next to me and he's like, hey, cuz on Crip. He goes, any of these, they asked me for my paperwork. He's all, we can go to a room.
So he didn't want to show his paperwork.
He goes, cuz on Crip, we can catch a cell. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, he don't want to show that paper. Because it looked to me like, I was like, I'm not looking at it like you're hardcore. It's like, cuz, show your paperwork. I was like, then go to the cell. If you're that hard up where you're that dude or whatever, show your shit and then go ahead and catch a fade. It's like, but really, we're running it. We tried to organize it there when we showed up to that unit to where it was real political and good. The brothers cleaned on Monday, we cleaned on Tuesday, the whites cleaned on Wednesday. And then we had it structured to where there was no gastos in there. It was fuckers really running that yard, the right way. So when that homie didn't want to present his paperwork, it was kind of like, but there wasn't enough brothers there that were, they were all kind of, it wasn't so.
Did nobody really want to press him?
Yeah, so they got rid of him, and he was gone. So he didn't get killed or anything, but he got sent on his way.
Yeah.
I had seen him later PC'd, so I know he never made it back to the yard. That's the thing. It's like if you PC, you're not going to another camp. All of a sudden, when we opened up Clayton, they couldn't handle it because New Mexico didn't know what to do. And they opened up Clayton, and from every adjacent prison, they just started calling transports. I was on one of them. I was the first 30 inmates over there. And there was a fight every transport van that came in, it was popping. And they had no seg at the time, so they weren't even they were just rotating fools to different pods.
Yeah.
So it was I wasn't there long. I got released shortly after that.
Okay. Interesting. Hey, there you have it. Big Herc 916, Thomas Baca, fresh out, prison talk.